Hey guys, Mr. Riz here to help you on the last part of this chapter 5, whatever we want to call it. What we're going to go over here is the same thing that we did the last section, but this time we're going to use the quadratic equation or quadratic formula and get imaginary solutions. So how do we work with that? So the same thing is going to go on. We're going to plug our numbers, our a, b, and c, into the quadratic formula. When we get to the square root, we will have a negative inside the square root. We just know that the square root of a negative number gives us an imaginary solution. So we're going to put an I next to that part. So let's talk about what it looks like in a problem here. All right, so this example here, we got x equals negative, our b is 1, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 1 squared in this example, minus 4 times a is 1, c is 7, all over 2 times a is 1. All right, using our A, B, and C. All right, so then if we plug it in or multiply, we got negative times 1 is negative 1, plus or minus the square root of 1 squared is 1, minus 4 times 1 times 7 is 28. Okay, oh yeah. And then 2 times 1 is 2. Just kind of thinking about what's coming up ahead. All right, so we get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 27 over 2. Now, normally we would just kind of stop there and we would say that this is no real solution, meaning our parabola does not cross the x-axis. But here's the other thing. Just because it doesn't cross the x-axis doesn't mean we can't figure out what numbers multiply to 7 add together to get 1. Just means that those would not be real numbers. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to break down the 27. So 27 is 9 and 3, and 9 is 3 and 3. So that means we have 1 3 that goes out and 1 3 that stays in. But since it's negative 27, we're going to say that this is 3i radical 3. Normally, if that was a regular 27, we'd say that this is 3 radical 3, but since it's imaginary, we say it's 3i radical 3. And the last thing we would do as well with this is just to see, do the numbers on the outside, can you divide them all by the same thing? If you can't, that's the solution. That's it. So this is negative 1 plus or minus 3i radical 3 over 2. And the crazy thing to think about this here is if we took negative 1 plus 3i radical 3 over 2, we multiply it by negative 1 minus 3i radical 3 over 2, it'd be really complicated, really crazy, but it would come out just to be 7. And if we add the positive and the negative version together, it would equal 1. It's weird how it works, but it just does that. Okay, so next, let's move on to this next example. This is going to be the last example we do here. So if you guys want to pause the video, try it on your own, see if you can handle it. All right, first thing that you got to do is you got to move the negative 3 over to the other side and make it a positive 3, because every equation needs to equal 0. All right, then we're going to plug the numbers in. We got x equals negative, our b is negative 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, or negative 2 squared, minus 4 times a is 6, c is positive 3, all over 2 times a is 6. All righty, so negative times negative 2 is a positive 2. Plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared is a positive 4. Minus 4 times 6 is 24. 24 times 3. Oh, man, make me do math this morning. It is 72. Yep. All over 2 times 6 is 12. Man, doing tough math this morning. All right, we got 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 72 is a negative 68 over 12. Here we go. All right, we need to break down that 68. All righty, so 68, let's see, is 2 and 34. And 34 is 2 and 17. So we got a pair of 2, so A2 goes outside, that 17 stays inside. So we would get x equals 2 plus or minus, the 2 goes outside, We also make it an I because it's imaginary. Radical 17 over 12. And then we're going to go through here. And to lastly, just check, does 2i, and 12 all divide by the same number? They do. We can divide them all by 2. So we got 1 plus or minus 1i radical 17. Remember, we leave that number alone on the inside over 6. Ooh-wee. Not the prettiest looking answer. Definitely would not take that answer to prom if I had to. But it works. It gets the job done. Okay. So you guys have a couple practice problems. We're going over this. This kind of wraps up this part here before we get into the meat and potatoes of chapter 5. We're just kind of making sure we remember and understand these properties with radicals and imaginary numbers. All right, we have a quiz coming up here, so you guys make sure you check the review worksheets and answer any questions or ask any questions if you have them. If not, you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.